Welcome, everyone. Welcome to day 7 of our 21 days. Let's meditate together and get freedom from thoughts. My name is Sylvia, and I live in Northern Florida. I'm a mom and a grandmother. I'm retired for the last 4 years from the Food and Drug Administration. So as we see here, there's a slide for our foot soak preparation. We started foot soaking last night, was the first night, and we will foot soak every night at the very beginning of our programs from now on. So just if you haven't already, please get your dishpan filled with water and a handful of salt, any table salt, any kind of towel, and then a small container of fresh water you're going to rinse your feet off into that with that. So you may be brand new tonight. We'll give you time and you can go ahead and get your foot soak bucket ready while I'm chatting. But if you're new and you would like a review of what we've covered, then you can watch the recordings later. They are on the website. They're all YouTube recordings. And we'll take a look at that later, how to access them. Or at the end of today's program, you can opt to go into a chat room for a one-on-one with an experienced Sahaja Yoga practitioner, and you can find out you can get caught up in what's happened so far, and you can also get answers to any of your questions. So yesterday, whether you were here or not, we learned to use the natural elements of which actually we are made. And they are fire, earth, water, air, and ether. And we particularly engaged with the earth and water elements in our foot soak. So today we're going to learn more about the experience of feeling our chakras. Yesterday, we understood a little bit more about how the chakras are made of different elements. Today, we're going to find out, what are you feeling when clearing chakras with something called a bandhan? We'll have 2 presenters tonight, 2 guided meditations, a video of Shri Mataji, the founder of Sahaja Yoga meditation, the practice that we teach here and do here, and our dear musician providing us with live music. At the end, we'll have breakout rooms, or you're welcome to stay here in the main room with us. All the presenters and our musician will be here too, and we can answer some questions. And mostly, we have some sharing in mind that we'd like to do with you. All sessions are recorded, and we try to stick with just 1 hour. However, after the end of 1 hour and the formal session ends, the Q&A and the presentation here in the main room of just sharing can go on for another 40 minutes. So that's optional. So with that, I want to remind you that Sahaja Yoga is free. It'll always be free. All of us who present here received joy and bliss when we were introduced into Sahaja Yoga. And that's just what we want to share with you. And doing that just gives us more than we could possibly ask for. So now let's go on and meet our other presenters tonight, pardon me, and our musician. So we are going to say hello to Tracy, my dear and good friend in Southern Florida, and my other of many dear and good friends, Gisela, who is in the Midwest, and our dear musician, Ben. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi,
Tracy.
Sylvia.
Hi. Tracy, would you like to start with introducing yourself, please?
Absolutely. Yes. Welcome to 21 days. Today we are completing our first week. How exciting. And we hope that you have been enjoying it, benefiting from it as much as we have. And my name is Tracy. I live in South Florida, close to the Atlantic Ocean between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. We have a Sahaja Yoga Meditation Center here. If you're ever in the neighborhood, we'd love to meet you. And like Sylvia, I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother. I worked in psychology and also as a teacher years ago. And we are also retired, recently moved to Florida, have been practicing Sahaja Yoga for more than half my life, and have been very fortunate to share it with others all around in our life, living in different cities around the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and now to the Southeast. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Tracy. We'll look forward to you sharing more with us tonight. Gisela, will you please share with us about yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Gisela. I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm originally from Brazil. I moved to Michigan 15 years ago, and I really love it here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually missing the snow. We haven't had a lot of snow this year. And that just tells me how much I have really been enjoying living here. I've been practicing meditation actually since I was a child. My parents taught me how to do it, and I've been doing it all these years, and now I have kids myself, and I've been trying to again pass it on to them as well. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, I stayed at home for several years, and I just recently started working. I work at the University of Michigan as a data specialist.
Thank you, Gisela. It's good to know a little bit more about what you do up there.
Thank you.
And good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Here's our musician, Ben. And happy to see you also, Ben. Will you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. Lovely to be here. I don't know if you hear the echo I do, but I didn't know how to turn that off. So I'm more of a musician than an audio engineer. But I've been practicing Sahaja Yoga since '97, and it's an amazing journey to see how, one begins to appreciate the arts more, and music and dance and the subtlety of artistic expressions and creations. It's something that becomes more refined as we meditate more. We become more sensitive to it, and something we enjoy in a whole different way than we did when we started to meditate. So hopefully tonight you'll be able to enjoy some music that's it's written about Sahaja Yoga. It's written about the experience of the Kundalini and how it moves through us and changes our life and impacts the way that we view social justice and our society. It impacts everything that we do. So I'm happy to be on the journey with you, and hope you enjoy the music this evening too.
Thank you so much, Ben, for that lovely introduction. Very good. So let's invite Tracy to take it away from here as she introduces us to our topic tonight. Thank you, Tracy.
Delighted to be here with all of you. And tonight we're going to be carrying on with learning a little bit more about our subtle system, about our energy centers, our chakras, learning how to detect them, and also how to use the vibrations that we may have begun feeling. So when we get connected to this divine power and our energy centers become slightly, even a little bit awakened, they begin communicating with us. And they communicate with us through our hands, where the nerve endings of our central nervous system are located. Nerve endings of our energy centers are located on our hands. And we have a diagram that you can look at here to see. So here we can see how the nerve endings of our energy centers can be detected on our fingertips. And just like on the chart in front of you, we're going to go through it together. At the base of the palm is the first center. The thumb is the second. The middle finger, we skip one and go to the middle finger, number 3. Skip and go to the pinky finger, number 4. Go back to the forefinger, number 5. The ring finger, we call it, the 4th finger, is number 6. And 7 is in the center of our palm. You'll also notice that around the 7th center is this area that you may have heard referred to called the void, which goes around the 3rd energy center, which you can see the green area around the third center in the diagram of the human subtle system. And that area is an important area within us, and we can feel it there around the outer portion of our palm. So we can feel these vibrations in a number of ways. The communication that the energy centers use to communicate with us, we refer to them as vibrations. It's also the all-pervading divine power that we can also feel that we call vibrations as well. And this is the activation of the subtle aspects and the subtle elements that we're made out of, and that are part and parcel of our central nervous system. So we begin feeling our own chakras on our hands. We can feel it as tingling, heat, pressure, heaviness, a number of sensations. It could be cold, it could feel icy cold, and we may feel it on an entire hand, or we may feel it on part of our hand. So we're going to begin using our hands, or also you might be feeling it in your body, in the energy centers themselves. You may feel it as a pressure, a constriction, or even heat emanating from a part of the body. So we will often, when we go to raise our energy, if we're raising our hands and we begin to feel heat in a specific place, then we know during the foot soak we can work on that with the vibrations, which we call a bandhan, when we'll use it today, to clear the heat out, to clear the pressure, the constriction, the tingling, any number of sensations that we might be feeling. And it's remarkable that you will notice how you begin to feel lighter, not just because the foot soak is absorbing out some of the heaviness and the impurities, the weight of the blockages within our subtle system, but also because of the use of the bandhan that we'll do today. So let's get started now with the foot soak. And hopefully you all have had time to get your basin of water. I'm going to pull mine over so that it's in front of me. And if you haven't already, this is just a little bit of salt that we add to the water. You can add more than that if you wish. Some people like it very salty, like myself. And as you've heard, this is bringing the ocean into our home. The power, the cleansing power of the ocean, the salt water of the sea. And that has the capacity to draw out of our subtle system impurities. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give vibrations to the water. And the way we do that is with our right hand. If you're left-handed, you can use your left hand. And we're going to go in a clockwise motion with our hand to vibrate the water. So we're using the bandhan to vibrate the water. And we'll go clockwise. Some people will tell you to do it 7 times. You can do it until you feel comfortable with having vibrated the water. These vibrations are flowing through us all the time, even if we're not aware of it. You could also put your hand a few inches above the water and see if you feel any sensation of coolness coming off of the water. Sometimes we can feel that cool breeze from the vibrated foot soak water. And the temperature of the water is important. Tonight, I have a very cool, almost cold foot soak because it's been a very active, physically and mentally active day. But if we're feeling a bit lethargic or tired or chilly inside, then we may take a warmer foot soak. So let's go ahead and put our feet in the water. And the first thing we're going to do is bring both of our hands in front of the sacrum bone. Close our eyes and bring our attention to the palms of our hands. We're going to take a baseline reading to see what we may be feeling in our hands. Whether we feel any specific fingertips, or it may be a whole hand that feels heavier or warmer. We can also see how we're feeling inside of our body. If there's anywhere that we're feeling a pressure, tension, discomfort. And now we're going to raise our mother energy, and we've all learned how to do that. If we're brand new, then we're taking the left hand, which is slowly rising. The right hand revolves around it, moving down towards the body, up and then away. So we're going in a clockwise manner around our left hand to the top of our head. Look up. You can look at the palm of your left hand and tie a knot. Let's do that again. Let's look at the palm of our left hand as we're raising the energy. And tie the knot twice. And the third and final time. Let's tie the knot 3 times. Okay, let's place ourselves in the protection of the bandhan. It's to allow us to be sensitive to our own inner state without our attention going elsewhere. So we're putting this vibrational energy field around our subtle system. We're wrapping our subtle system in the vibrations. And we do that 7 times. Let's take a moment before we start working with the vibrations to allow Mother Earth to help bring us into balance by placing both hands towards the Mother Earth and asking her silently to kindly remove the impurities, any blockages within our subtle system. Take a deep breath and relax. Let the residue of all of the activity of the past week, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, be released into the Mother Earth. Let's allow our attention to drift up through the center of our body to the very top of our head, where we just tied the knot. The beauty of the foot soak is that it works sahaja, effortlessly. Okay, let's bring our hands back on our lap. And once again, we can raise our hands up just a few inches above our lap. And again, take note of anything that we may be feeling at this time in our body or in our hands. We're just watching. We're not judging. We're not remembering. We're not thinking. We're just watching. Let's see, does one hand feel heavier? Warmer? Or particular fingers maybe tingling? So we can bring our right hand back on our lap, and we're going to lift our left hand. Let me move this so you can see my left hand a little bit better. And it's going to be facing behind me, over the shoulder. And we're going to now clear the right channel. We can close our eyes. Again, take a deep breath. And ask our mother energy to please clear and balance our right channel. Let the attention again rise to the top of the head. Mother Kundalini, please bring our right channel into balance. Our right channel is future-oriented planning. We can surrender, offer all of our plans and thoughts about the future to our spirit. Perhaps you feel the right hand getting a little lighter or perhaps a little cooler. Let's now go and clear the left channel. Bring the left hand down on our lap, and the right channel is towards the floor now. So the left hand again on the lap, and the right hand down towards Mother Earth. Again, let's close our eyes. And we ask Mother Earth to please clear our left channel. Please bring the left channel into balance and remove any unhealthy thoughts or feelings that we may have experienced throughout the day. Again, the attention, we'll bring it to the top of our head so that nothing is impeding the cleansing process. Let's see if we can feel the attention on top of our head. We're not concentrating or focusing. We're witnessing. The attention is just witnessing. It's watching. Everything else relaxes. Very good. So let's open our eyes now. And I'm going to demonstrate how we give a bandhan to our chakras. It's very simple, just like everything else in Sahaj. We're going to use our right hand because the left hand is the hand representing the left side, which is receptive. It absorbs the vibrations flowing. And the right hand transmits. It gives. So we take our right hand and it's as if our body is the clock. So 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That's a clockwise direction. Our body is the clock. Let's practice by just moving our hand in a clockwise manner around the upper part of our torso. I'm giving this example here because you can't see the second or third energy center because of the video. All right, so this is the way we move our hand. And what we can do is if we're working on a specific center, such as the center heart, we're moving our hand in a clockwise manner, and we can actually go rather quickly, and we're clearing the impurities that may be blocking or obstructing the chakra itself. Okay, and then we're going to throw it into or offer it to the foot soaking water. All right, so the chakras, the word means wheel, they spin. And when they get constricted or blocked, they don't spin as well. The functioning becomes compromised. And it's the chakras that look after our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health and well-being. So we want to keep them clear. And also we want them to be nurtured by the Kundalini energy, allowing more of that energy to flow within us. So we use our hands to guide us. If we're feeling, for example, the third finger, which is the Nabi chakra, then we would give a bandhan there. If I feel it on my left finger, on my left hand, which is the left channel, then I would work on the left side of the third center called the left Nabi chakra, the left energy center. And if I felt it on the middle finger on my right hand, I would give it on the right side of my body, which is the right Nabi chakra, the third energy center on the right side. If I feel them on both fingers, that's the center. And then I'll work on the center Nabi chakra, the third center. So let's take a moment again to just put our hands in front of us and see if we're feeling any tingling in any of our fingertips. Let's practice giving bandhan to the third energy center, the Nabi chakra, in the center. So we're going to move in a clockwise manner. And it's as if the vibrations are spinning any impurities, any heavy vibrations that are obstructing the chakra out, and our hand captures that, and we offer it into the water. Let's do that a few more times. We can do it with our eyes closed to see if we feel the effect of this bandhan on our Nabi chakra. Let's move to the left side of the third center, which is on the left side of the abdomen, and give a bandhan there. Toss it to the water. And again. And a third time. When you do this at home, you can also combine it with the affirmations that we've learned for the energy centers. Let's now give a bandhan to the right Nabi energy center. And let's again bring both of our hands up and see how it feels on the vibrations. It would be nice if we had more time to work on other chakras. So we'll have opportunity to do that in the days to come. And we will practice this regularly. Until it becomes second nature. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rinse our feet. And if you have a rinsing container of water, and we're going to rinse our feet and move the bucket to the side. We're going to take 1 minute to meditate silently. Let's dry our feet off. Let's close our eyes for just even half a minute. We've gone over time a little bit. We can ask our mothering energy to please bring us into the state of thoughtless awareness. See if we feel lighter and clearer after having foot soaked. And see if our attention is able to settle down a little more steadily in thoughtless awareness. Let's try to keep our attention there as we now listen to Shri Mataji, this is the second part of the program that we listened to an excerpt from yesterday evening in Washington, D.C. in the late 90s.
But with this power, you become so much full of compassion. Then your attention goes from you to others. What you can do for others, how can you give them realization? And still you discover that around you is so many destructive forces, so many disturbing forces, so many problems, suddenly you find they disappear. If you can transform human being, but it's no question of transformation. I would say it is the question of evolutionary process. And when this takes place, you find you are transformed completely. And thousands have to be transformed. Thousands and thousands and millions and millions. But somehow, America has a different type of approach to spirituality. They think if I don't take money, then something wrong with me. I must accept money. And they have told me so many things. Some experts came and told me, explained to me all the economics and all that which I don't understand. And they think that it should be sellable. Can't understand this kind of a thing. How much will you pay for Christ? How much will you pay for any saintly personality? Because its value cannot be judged. It's invaluable. Something that's the most invaluable for you is to know yourself. If you have not known yourself, you are still going round and round and round in the mad rush of thinking. Even Einstein, you'll be surprised, has talked about it, that he was trying to find the theory of relativity. And just he couldn't find it. So he went into his garden and was playing with the soap bubbles, and suddenly from somewhere unknown, that's what he said, the theory of relativity dawned upon him. And he called that unknown area, he called them by a name, you see. And that name is rather, to me, not so precise. But he says there is an area which you can exploit, by which you can understand for the future generation, for the future scientist, where you get the ideas from there. And he said for that you must have a kind of a personality that can perceive that torsion area from where the ideas are coming. If he can enter into that area, you can get the full idea as to what is reality. He calls it cognitive. He says this is cognitive science. And such a person can tell you so many things which when you put it to the scientific test, you'll find is absolutely correct. And this is what happened to him because himself was a realized soul. And many people like Newton himself was a realized soul. Abraham Lincoln was a realized soul. But they could not tell about it to others because nobody would believe, and anybody tried to tell anything, they just used to torture them. Every saint, real saint, has been tortured. Every Sufi has been tortured. In our country especially, many saints have been very badly treated. Also in other countries. Why? Because they are only one, and maybe people were jealous that how could they know so much, how could they talk about so many things. Now, with all this, now, only thing if I have done anything is very simple, that I thought no use giving these realization to one or two persons, which was the tradition, to give to only one to one. But now, I felt it won't work out. We have to have it for the masses. And what I did was to find out a method by which I can give a mass realization. That's all. Which is a simple thing. And that is working, and it worked very well. As I said, in America, they just think of, this is another achievement of human beings, that they know about money. So, money, everything money. So they can't understand even spirituality without money. But in a place like, say, we can say Russia. Russian people had no freedom as you have. And they had oppression from all sides in their, as you know, the whole thing was a communistic country. And in that communism, they were completely oppressed. So as a result, they went inside themselves and tried to find out solutions inside. So when they saw me, just seeing me, I don't know how, thousands of them came. Now we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Russia alone, also in other some countries. When I see here, I'm just thinking in Russia we cannot put it in a hall, we have to have a big tent or Olympics where they had some sort of a thing like that. So the trouble is, we should give up this idea that I can find it for myself. This is very, very common. You cannot. This is the only evolution in which you have to get it from an enlightened person. You have to humble on this point, that I can't get it on my own. I can find my own way. You cannot. You'll be lost. You have to have somebody who is already enlightened. Now, how to get an enlightened person also? How to know? Because after realization, you know the absolute truth. On your fingertips, you can feel the centers of other person. If something is fishy, you can feel it. If somebody is cheating you, you can feel it. Everything. Your fingers speak. This is what Muhammad Sahib has said. At the time of resurrection, your hands will speak clearly. How can hands speak? This is how, because all these 5 fingers are the centers, 6th and 7th center.
Let's bring our attention to the top of the head without any effort. We can slowly take our right hand and from the base of the spine, raise it up the central channel. Bring it over the top of the head. Gently touch the top of our head at the soft spot we had as a baby. When we feel our attention is there, we can put our hand back on our lap. Faith is not blind. Now that I see you, never let me lose sight of what is true. Rise, say who, 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 is not blind. These hands, they do speak, can't hide what's in your heart from those who can see you. Nights of lights we thought was life return to empty streets. Reaching near the end, I feel you appear with all I see. 'Cause this faith is not blind. Faith is not blind. Now that I see you, this faith is not blind. Now that I see you, this faith is not blind. Simple as the ground, right below our feet. Busy in the clouds, the thoughts we are chasing. We trip over the stones just to see our path. It is love that fails us and love that brings us back. Talking about you, who do, oh my Lord, you, who do make all beautiful. I thank you for the flowers, and I thank you for the rain. Thank you for the color of my brother's skin. The hands all cracked and broken held the hands that hold your dream. The vision of the mother held in every seed. I'm talking about you, who do, oh my Lord, you, who do make all beautiful, you, who I love, oh my Lord. The daytime, oh, and I need you in the night. You do, oh my Lord, you who make all beautiful you, who I love, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Ooh, oh my Lord. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed. We're turning it over to Giselle to lead us into another meditation.
Thank you, Ben. That was absolutely wonderful. We can continue in this beautiful meditative state. We can one more time bring our hand upwards along our spine in the front with the hand cupped, and slowly bring it up all the way to the top of the head. We can massage the skin of our head a little bit, moving it around and around. Once we feel like our attention is fixed in this point, we will slowly bring down our hand, keeping our attention at the top. We can now work on our sixth energy center, which is at our forehead. And we can use the technique we just learned today. So we start with our hand towards us, the fingers pointing towards us at the top. Then we go to the left, bottom, right, and top again. Left, bottom, right, and top. So we can continue this circular movement with full attention on the movement. We can ask this motherly energy that we all are born with, the Kundalini energy. We can ask this energy to please remove all imbalances from this energy center. All our worries, all excessive thinking, all the things that prevent us from forgiving others. As we do this movement, the bandhan, we are asking and surrendering all of this to asking this energy to clear all of this out from our system. Can bring down our hand when we feel like we are done. We can pay attention to our hands and see if we feel anything. We don't have to worry too much whether we're feeling or not, but just like a scientist, you just observe and take notes and just observe what you're feeling. Do I feel heat or coolness or some tingling sensation in the finger? Or do I feel weight? Does one hand feel heavier than the other? We don't need to react to what we feel, but just observe. We will one more time bring our hand upwards. And with our hand, our attention also slowly moves upwards. And with our attention, our Kundalini also moves upwards, this primordial energy that does all of this work. And again, we will massage the top of the head, top, left, front, right, back, left, front, right, back, left, front, right. And see if you can move the skin of your head, not just your hair. Try to put some pressure. Gently massaging your scalp. Bring down your hand, keeping attention on the top. We can conclude our meditation today by one more time raising our Kundalini like we did in the beginning. Left hand goes up, right hand moves around it, outwards. We reach the top, do a knot. We do the same movement one more time. Third time. You can do 3 knots. Now we spread this energy around, starting on the left side, over the head, down the right side, back, right side, over the head, and down the left. That's 1. You'll do that 7 times. Thank you all for joining. Hope you have enjoyed the meditation. I'll pass it over to Sylvia.
Hello, everyone. Hello again. I think after that meditation, we are just in another realm. So glad that we've all been able to experience it together. So today's program is coming to an end, but let's have some announcements first. We'll talk a little bit now about tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to experience the cooling effect of ice to steady our attention and make us less reactive. So tomorrow, we're going to want to have an ice pack. We can take some ice cubes and put them in a baggie, or we can have one of those blue ice type things you can buy from the store, or you can just put some water in a baggie and put it in the freezer, and then you'll have it tomorrow. We use the ice pack to work on our right side. Tomorrow, we will foot soak again. Just as a reminder, we'll be foot soaking every day at the beginning of each program. So just be prepared with your foot soak as you were today. So we do have program resources to share with you and to help us more feel like a community together. You can join our community on the WhatsApp group. And I think that in the chat, they'll be sharing that link for you. You'll have daily spiritual messages, and also announcements and links will be there. Also, as we discovered and explored a little bit, there is a website for this program. You can see it there. It's also going to be placed in the chat for you. And get familiar with that website because it can really be your friend. There'll be links there for the recordings. And also you'll be able to get the handouts from the website. So great resource. Today we are introducing again something new every day. So on the screen now, you can see the request a mentor form. Drum roll, we are going to start the mentor process of matching. That we're going to do next week. So in the chat, you'll see the form. We'll also be sharing it on the WhatsApp group. It's a simple form, your name, your address. Do you already have them? Not your address, I'm sorry, your name, where you live, basically. An email address would be very helpful. If you already have a mentor, their name, that would be very helpful for us so that we don't mismatch anybody. And then if you want a mentor, please also tell us a little bit more about the person, or the expectations or the ideas that you have in the comment section all the way down at the bottom. So it's a pretty simple form, but it's going to open another doorway into Sahaj life. We believe for you. We all had mentors when we started in a way. We may not have called them that, but people who nourished us along the way. And we want you very much to have that experience also. So look for that in the chat. So now that our formal part of our session is ending, we have a choice. You are most welcome and highly encouraged to go into a breakout room where you can begin to meet other Sahaja Yoga practitioners. You can type in the chat. This is where we again use the chat. Type in the chat to the breakout room help participant. So click on your chat and then scroll down to breakout room help participant and tell them if you have a personal question or you would like to review from previous programs or from today, or you just want somebody to meditate with one-on-one. You can chat in, text in there that you would like to join a breakout room. It takes a few minutes while the techies, our beautiful magic techies, wave their magic wands, but you'll be put into a breakout room as soon as possible. Or we would love for you to stay, if you would like, here in the main room with us. We will have our presenters join us again, and we'll be presenting experiences for you to get a little bit more anecdotal information, those who like stories. It's always good. That's another beautiful tradition that we love very much in Sahaja Yoga, is sharing stories. We want to encourage you one more time, please attend all 21 days if you can. If not, you will find the recordings on the website so that you won't feel lost. You'll feel like you're up to date with everything. So also, that's a great way for you to invite your friends and family, your colleagues, and help them to also feel and enjoy and experience these amazing things that you've been experiencing. So with that, here are our amazing presenters, and welcome to you all. It was so nice to be in meditation together. So we may eventually take some questions from our participants, but first, we thought that it would be really nice to get folks, since we presented the bandhan, working on the bandhan on our chakras today, to get all of us to chat a little bit about how you have experienced using the bandhan on your own chakras in your own meditation. How has it worked out in your experience? And if you have some stories to tell. But first, I think we want to welcome Shaila. Welcome. I'm sorry.
Suhas.
Suhas. Excuse me, Suhas. I'm not reading correctly today. We want to welcome Suhas, who has joined us also as to help us with questions. And we have also Tracy here and Gisela. So Gisela, I'd like to start with you about using bandhans in your meditation to help you understand better yourself on this journey in Sahaja Yoga. Please.
Thank you, Sylvia. So I think the bandhans, mostly, I'm trying to think of one specific example, but it's one time that I can remember that it has helped, and it's actually not even the bandhan. I mean, there's this bandhan, but sometimes just your attention can help. And I think one of the things that I could remember like more specifically was that how my parents taught me when I was like scared in the night, like if I had a bad dream or something, they would say to put my hand or give a bandhan on this chakra, because this chakra is related to our sense of security. And amazingly enough, so when I would have like a bad dream or something in the night, or the way I would kind of put myself back would be to either put my hand here or give a bandhan, and it helped. So it's not a very, let's say, very like meditative experience, but it still was the way I could put myself back to sleep.
Mm-hmm. It's a very Sahaj experience, Gisela. And I think a lot of people can benefit. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. Yeah.
Right. Knowing a little bit more about this chakra is one thing. And then how to clear ourselves from being afraid at night is, for children, that's also super
for
helpful.
Children is great. Yeah, I tell that to my kids as well.
Very nice. Very nice. Tracy, would you like to go next and talk to us about, in general, your experience in meditation with using bandhans?
The stories are countless. To pick one is difficult. I have two, and I'll try to make it short. One, there was a good friend of mine who we meditated together many years ago. She was from Peru, a teacher. And one day, after we meditated, she complained that she was having a lot of pain in her knee. and that it had been bothering her for a very long time. And I'm guessing it could have been, it was cold. It was the middle of the winter, so possibly arthritis. But she was having a lot of pain in that knee. So I just simply sat for a few minutes and gave a bandhan. And when we do the bandhan, and I was giving bandhan to her left knee, and when we do that, we know we're not doing anything. This energy is just flowing through us. We put our attention on top of our head, and we just let the vibrations flow through us. And it's this power of love. So we do it with that feeling of giving this love. And when she came over the following week, she said to me, I cannot tell you, I have been completely pain-free for the entire week. Could you please give that energy to my other knee? So at that point, I explained how we become capable of doing this for ourselves. But that's an instance where we use this bandhan in the exact same way that Gisela just explained, not only for our benevolence, but for the benevolence of another person. Should I go ahead and tell one more story of my own person?
Go ahead. Yeah, Tracy.
Okay. All right. I injured my lower back, the sacroiliac joint, years before I started practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation. And this flared up now and then. The injury would get exacerbated, and then I'd be bedridden for 2, 3, 4, 5 days while it would heal. And then slowly I'd get back into mobility. So it was pretty debilitating when I would throw my back out, as they say. And it would just be completely frozen, and I would not be able to move. And I learned not to do certain things that I knew would possibly create that re-injury to that weakness in my lower back. And one day, my family was invited to go to my husband's cousin's wedding. And I had thrown the back out again and was really, for a couple of days, bedridden. So not a nice thing to be in that situation. But in any case, they all got ready to go for the wedding. And there I was laying in bed at home alone. And at that time, I thought to myself, what is the matter with you, young lady? You have this power within you. And I had this unshakable knowledge and awareness that my Kundalini and these vibrations were incredibly powerful, and that it should be able to heal me. And I had this faith that it could. And at that moment, I began to meditate, laying down in the bed. And I bring my attention to this mothering energy, and I started giving bandhans to that lower part of my back that was completely frozen. It wouldn't allow me to move. The pain was just too strong. So as I'm giving these vibrations to that part of my back, and I'm praying to this energy within me with this unshakable confidence that she had the capacity to do this. And the next thing, I'm feeling this energy rising within me incredibly powerfully as she rose all the way up, and the pain went away completely. I sat up, I got dressed, I drove myself to the wedding, enjoyed the reception, decided not to dance, didn't want to, push my luck. And honestly, I have never had that pain and that problem since. And that was just extraordinary for me. It's something I will never forget. And I know that this capacity is within each and every one of us. So just wanted to share that as well.
Wow, that was really powerful, Tracy. And I hope everyone here takes that home, into their heart as something they can do on their own as well. Yes, Suhas, will you please share something also with us, your experience with bandhans within yourself?
Sure. Firstly, thank you for the warm welcome. So happy to be here to share in this meditative experience with everyone, also to get to share glimpses into our journey in Sahaja Yoga. The coolest part about Sahaja Yoga is it's incredibly practical. Like, there is this spiritual, ethereal aspects to it, but I have a couple of examples. One really practical. So the story goes, I'm on this 14.5-hour flight en route to India, and midway through the flight, I've eaten something. I'm not sure if it was food or is it some kind of acid reflux, but I start feeling distinctly uncomfortable, and I'm having trouble breathing, and that sets off anxiety, and you're in the flight, and then you start becoming an annoyance to the air hostess by standing up, trying to figure out what to do. And I said, stop panicking, sit down and do the bandhan. And then I sit down and I'm giving bandhan to my nabi and just taking my attention there, and as we grow in Sahaja Yoga, we realize our attention becomes so powerful that you take it there, and that means the energy flows to that spot. And suddenly I start feeling more peaceful and calmness in my nabi chakra, which is our third energy center. And thank God it was in the first 2-3 hours of the flight, and the rest of the flight, I was really enjoying it and relaxing. I can only imagine what a mess I would have been if that had continued for the next 10-14 hours. The next experience I have is a little more ethereal. Part of growing in Sahaj is learning to trust. Tracy had this beautiful story where it's trusting that it will work and trusting your problem to that divine energy to sort it out, right? So we had organized this incredible, beautiful seminar. It was an international Sahaja Yoga seminar. Those happen, by the way, folks listening. One day, hopefully, you can join us. People from all over the world had come. And I was part of the organizing team. And we had worked incredibly for 3 months leading up to this seminar. And the weather was looking really great until the Friday before the seminar. And clouds, weather forecast is thunderstorms, and everybody was predicting a washout. And all of us huddled, and we were trying to panic around, what do we do? What alternate things can we do that can happen indoors? And we had this beautiful havan organized. We huddled, and suddenly the desire came to me that, you know what? It's beyond us. So let's surrender it to that higher power and let it work it out. And how do you do that? That's the bandhan again. So we all just put our attention on our Sahasrara, which is the 7th energy center, and gave a bandhan for the weather. And something amazing happened. For the next 4 hours, until all our outdoor events were done, not a drop of rain happened. And as soon as we finished our havan, and we were all huddled to go back inside, it started pouring. And when that happens, right, the reason I'm sharing this is, one, you try this on small little things and you gain the confidence and trust the bigger things. But when you trust the bigger things and it still works, your confidence in your connection in this energy grows tremendously.
It grows tremendously. That is so true. Thank you, Suhas, for sharing that. I think it sounds like a really nice theme that we're working on too, is this trust and this feeling of being connected. So, yeah. So let's go to our second question. which is kind of an or question tonight. We can put it a couple different ways because all of you are sharing so beautifully. Don't want to box you up too much. So the question kind of goes like, we've had different stages in our life, perhaps, that we've been in Sahaja Yoga. So at different stages in our life, maybe Sahaj is, we've practiced a little bit differently. Maybe we've taught it a little bit differently. Maybe there's been some change in our lives that has given us a new perspective on how valuable or how to share Sahaja Yoga. So that's a pretty broad brush, perhaps. But the question is an or question. How has Sahaja Yoga affected you as you've journeyed through different stages of your life? Or, and you can choose which one to take, what is something that really you wished so much would change, and then you came into Sahaja Yoga and it changed? So changes in your life that have come because of Sahaja Yoga. So let's see, I think we'll go in the same circle. Gisela, can we start with you again?
Sure. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think Sahaja Yoga has really been, I think, that constant in my life. So I started practicing with my parents when I was 9 years old, and I think I probably didn't fully understand what I was doing, but so many things changed. But in the different parts of like growing up, it has had its space. So I remember as a teenager, very often going into that meditative state when you're, growing up and trying to figure out who you are, who you want to be. And the meditation really helped me kind of like understand, okay, what is the world around me and what do I want to be? Do I want to be that? Or do I want to, it gave me a spiritual vision that I probably would not have. I would probably feel like I have to follow whatever is going on. So as a teenager, that was how Sahaja Yoga was really helping me. It definitely molded me on how I reacted to things, on how I wanted to be seen. And then it kept going, then, moving to a different country, getting to know new people, forming new circles, this meditative, because this is so international, this meditation there are groups of Sahaja Yoga all over the world. So even if you're traveling somewhere, you're moving somewhere, you probably find a group where you will also meditate. So there's this thing about Sahaja Yoga that it doesn't have these boundaries. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to connect with people who may not have the same upbringing that you had, but it really unites us all in this very unique way. You find like-minded people inside this group. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate about being here. And now, again, as a parent myself, I'm kind of going back through how was it that my parents taught me, and it's very different. It's different learning it as a kid and then trying to get your kids interested. But I still feel like it's such an amazing journey, and my kids have their own experiences. Each person will grow into their own self, but I really encourage, if anybody is out there that have themselves kids, this is something that they will benefit to. It benefits like the entire family. So the approach probably is different. They probably will not be able to sit down in this kind of meditation like we're doing here, but there are so many ways, and they are so spiritual as well. It's so easy to give them this self-realization.
Wow, I think that's a really nice thing for people to know who are listening, who most of us have a family somewhere along the way. Tracy, I know you can address this as well. You have a family. And
Sylvia, it's just not fair. You ask these wide open questions, and there's 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 answers. So,
You'll pick the right one.
so it helps us in every way imaginable. Like Suha said, very practical. As Gisela just explained about growing up and the spiritual aspect of it. And it has helped me physically, emotionally, mentally, and most of all spiritually. So when I first started practicing, I often wondered what it meant. You know, we have this part of our being, the spiritual part. Well, what is that? You know, I had no background, no traditions, no upbringing or education about spirituality. I knew that there was something really missing, but I didn't know what. And I was seeking. And Shri Mataji calls us the seekers of truth. And I was a hardcore seeker, trying everything under the sun. And when I went to my first program with Shri Mataji, I was really moved by the fact that when I heard her speak, I had this awareness that everything she was saying was the truth. And that really impacted me enormously. And she would say things and I would think, how come I didn't know that? I should have known that. That makes perfect sense to me. And it was so, you could say intuitive or practical or common sense or just, you know, innately wise. There was just so much wisdom in everything she said. And that really impressed me at the beginning. That's one thing. When another person has that, that's great. But we really want to have that for ourselves. And so over the years of practicing Sahaj, what I have found to be the most valuable component is that it gives me the capacity to know what is the right decision, the right thing to do in my life. Because we are all at different times confronted with decisions or challenges, and how do we handle them? Could be communicating with my husband, or it could be how do I help my child who's come home from school and is just upset and disturbed and angry. It could be any of these things. But you know, maybe I'm having a difficulty in my relationship with a friend. Another thing about Sahaj, that when you asked, you know, what did it give you? It gave me something that I really didn't even know that I wanted or needed, but it was this incredible sisterhood and brotherhood. So all of these wonderful human beings that are joining here tonight, Gisela and Suhas and Sylvia, you know, just enormously grateful to be able to include each and every one of you and so many others who we met in this family and friendship. But I'll get back to the most important, and that is the ability in the state of meditation to know without any doubt what is the right decision, whether it's what university might, you know, if the son or daughter get accepted into multiple universities, which one is going to be benevolent for them, for their growth. If it was buying a house, where, you know, I knew we wanted to move to Florida. I wasn't sure where. So once again, it's in the meditation that we get the clarity and this knowledge. And just like Shri Mataji spoke about in the talk today, that Einstein was sitting in the garden blowing soap bubbles, and the theory of relativity dawned upon him from this higher state of that of awareness, the divine awareness that knows everything. So he didn't think of it. He didn't come up with it himself. He became aware of it. And so in meditation, we become aware of the truth. And that has guided me in countless decisions, whether this doctor who wants to do surgery on my daughter, whether it's the right thing to do. And I meditated on it for at least 2 weeks before I knew the right answer. And I wasn't going to take that decision until I knew without doubt that it was the right thing to do. So I would say that has been an aspect of this practice that has been the guiding light in my life.
And it really speaks to what so many people need. So many people are here because they're seekers of truth, they're self-knowledge and seekers of truth as well. Thank you, Tracy. That was very helpful. Suhas, before you answered, though, I realized we didn't really get a chance to find out about you. And could you take a moment and introduce yourself? I think because you're just coming in, we'd love to know a little bit more about you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. I should have done that the first time, but so I am Suhas Reddy. My day job is working for a bank. I'm in product management. I've been in financial services for almost 2 decades now. I was born in India, came over here to go to college and stayed back since. And I was introduced to Sahaja Yoga by my mother very early on in life. To her credit, she instilled a lot of good values and strong connection to the principles that we all learn in Sahaja Yoga. But to be honest, I think my individual journey started much more deeply once I came over to the US and started to find myself out of place in an alien country, new environment, and I had to dig deep. And lo and behold, right in front of me, I had tools that had been imparted to me that I actually used to not only deal with the challenge of being out of place, but also to grow and mature and also find myself in many ways. I guess I'm leaning in from the introduction to the answer to the question as well. So a couple of stories to share that hopefully are useful to the audience here. One of them is something that, again, back to the practical side, I'm big on this. Once you use it for the practical side, then it'll make sense in the grand scheme of things as well. I probably suffered from ADHD when I was a child, but was never diagnosed. And I was the guy who would sit in the class and sometimes would be brilliant and sometimes would be completely daydreaming and out somewhere miles away, even though I'm staring at the teacher in front of me. So for a long while, I just dragged myself through intelligence and making the right guesses and through school, getting average grades. And then I came to America and started grad school. Grad school is supposed to be the toughest one of them all, right? And I had barely, in my opinion, at least in my family's opinion, scraped through college. And I come here and I'm dealing with this, all the challenges I just shared with you of new country, new language, new environment. And I really started honing on regular meditation. And I found it incredibly soothing because that was one time in the day when everything here would go silent. if someone in the audience has experienced ADHD or ADD, you totally know what I'm talking about. And then miracles have started happening. I started getting straight A's in school, and I did not understand how that was happening. So years later, I realized all this, when you make sense and when you're sharing it with others,
Right.
I probably got cured of my ADHD through that rigorous, regular practice of meditation and that regular experience of thoughtless awareness, which we teach in Sahaja Yoga.
Wow.
I wish I'd started earlier, listened to my mom like Gisela did and meditated regularly. I didn't. I wasn't. The other thing about me is I went to boarding schools all my life, first grade to 12th grade, college as well. So I've never had stayed at home. So my mom's fear of influence was the 3 months that I would come home from boarding school. So she would do her best, but she'd done an incredible job instilling the right values and the right principles that eventually became the bedrock of who I am today. So single mom raising 2 sons, did an incredible job. I give her a lot of credit. What has changed in your life? I would say finding peace. So growing up, the intellect has this rational side, and you're going to schools. I come from a family of scientists and doctors, always logical. A lot of them were atheists because they believe in science, not in that divine, all-pervading power. So you have this training that your mind gets as you walk through school, but you have these spiritual education that you're being imparted by your mother, your family, and through your journey, trying to find the unison of the two. The truth is one. All the great souls have said this. Shri Mataji has said this many times. So if there is one truth, why do these things contradict with each other? In Sahaja Yoga, I found that they're all one and the same. It's just the perspective with which you see it. If you look at Sahaja Yoga from a very scientific frame of mind, with a strong intellect, a PhD mind, I call it, you will find answers in science, explanations in science, how the chakras are, how the energy system works, how the autonomous nervous system. But if you want it not to be bothered with all that, and you wanted the spiritual experience, and that's served to you on a platter as well. But unifying these two perspectives made me whole, and the contradiction stopped. And also, I think eventually I found purpose, greater purpose. And as I speak, I often find myself connecting the two every time I share, because there are many among us. The mind needs to be satisfied before it can get comfortable enough to dive deeper into the spiritual experience.
That is so true, Suhas. And I really appreciate that you mentioned that these two go hand and glove together, the spiritual and the practical. And Sahaja Yoga is a great way to prove it to ourselves. So we are almost at the end of our time together, but this would be a wonderful time for us to dive into that spiritual self for a moment and go deeper. Gisela, would you lead us for just a minute or two into going inside and getting silent again? Now that we've had so much beautiful sharing that makes us all feel much more connected really with each other. We can connect with ourselves again.
Sure. Let's bring our hands to our lap, palms open, facing upwards. We'll take a few deep breaths. Breathe in breathe out. When we breathe in, we can raise our attention along our central channel, along our spinal cord to the top of the head. Then when we breathe out, we keep attention on the top of the head. You can do this a few times. You can try to feel the vibrations at the top of the head. Let's raise our hand a few inches above our head. See if we feel any energy or coolness or warmth. And you can bring our left hand down, right hand. We'll try to see if we feel anything. We bring our hands down. Once again, redirect attention to the top of the head. You can gently open our eyes.
Thank you so much, Gisela. This brings us to the end of our program tonight. We still have over 100 people. Hopefully they're all in breakout rooms enjoying one-on-ones. As much as I just enjoyed that 2-minute meditation. So another example how we don't need a lot of fanciness. Everything is inside. It's just our attention and our desire works so well. So with that, we will end our program. There'll be a few more minutes of music. If anyone would like to stay and just absorb more vibrations along with the music. And we hope to see you again tomorrow night, 8:45. And with your foot soak. Good night, everyone.